The ocean is a place of shadows and myths. For centuries, we believed the apex of marine terror was a singular entity, a massive, cold-blooded shadow with rows of serrated teeth, the Megalodon. The Megalodon represented the absolute limit of what nature could produce in terms of a perfect predator. 50 feet of cartilage and muscle designed to do one thing: dominate. But what if I told you that while the Megalodon was patrolling the warmer surface waters of the Miocene, there was something else, something that didn't breathe through gills but through a blowhole, something that possessed a brain capable of complex strategy and a jaw armed with teeth that make a great whites look like a toothpick? In 2008, in the scorching heat of the Pisco Basin in Peru, the sand gave up a secret it had kept for 12 million years. It wasn't just a new species, it was a nightmare that redefined the prehistoric food chain. This is the story of Livyatan melvillei, the hyper-predatory whale that challenged the Megalodon for the throne of the abyss. Paleontology is often a game of fragments, a tooth here, a vertebra there. But the discovery of Livyatan was different. Researchers unearthed a skull that was nearly 10 feet long. To put that into perspective, that is a skull the size of a modern SUV. When the lead researcher, Klaas Post, first laid eyes on the fossil, the team was stunned by one specific feature: the teeth. In modern sperm whales, teeth are mostly found in the lower jaw, and they aren't even used for biting. They're used as a social tool or to help swallow squid whole. But this creature had massive interlocking teeth in both its upper and lower jaws. The largest teeth ever found on this specimen measured 14 inches long and 4 inches wide. These are the largest functional biting teeth of any known animal in history, excluding tusks. They weren't just for show, they were deeply rooted, designed to withstand the immense mechanical stress of a struggling prey. This wasn't a peaceful giant. This was a macroraptorial killer. Then, they published their discovery in the journal Nature under the initial name Livyatan melvillei. Leviathan is named after a mythological creature, a giant sea monster, described in the Old Testament. Meanwhile, melvillei is named after Herman Melville, the author of the novel Moby Dick. It turns out that the name Leviathan had already been used by an ancient elephant from the Proboscidean genus. Eventually, the name was changed to Livyatan through the corrigendum process, a process of amending an officially published document. To understand why Livyatan was so terrifying, we have to look at its biology. Based on the size of the skull, scientists estimate that this whale grew between 44 and 57 feet long. Weight-wise, we're talking about 50 tons of mammalian muscle. But it wasn't just about size, it was about the spermaceti organ. Modern sperm whales use this oil-filled organ in their foreheads for echolocation and diving. But in Livyatan, the basin for this organ was enormous. This suggests two things. First, it had an incredibly powerful sonar to track prey in murky waters. Second, it could have used its massive head as a battering ram, much like modern orcas or even the fictional Moby Dick. Imagine a 50-ton animal moving at high speeds, hitting a target with the force of a freight train, and then following up with a bite force that could potentially exceed anything we've ever modeled. While the Megalodon relied on its slice and bleed tactic, Livyatan likely used crush and grip. It didn't just want a piece of you, it wanted to hold you down and break you. Livyatan is classified in the Physeteroidea family, the sperm whale family. It is in the same lineage as the modern sperm whale. Evolutionarily, Livyatan is an icon of the ferocity of giant-toothed whales, which use the power of their jaws and teeth to hunt large marine fauna. Although its predecessor, Zygophyseter, was also a saber-toothed sperm whale, it was not as ferocious and brutal as Livyatan. Livyatan lived in the late Miocene epoch, specifically during the Tortonian stage, approximately 12 to 9 million years ago. The world 12 million years ago was a violent paradise. The oceans were filled with small, high-calorie baleen whales, the perfect snack for a giant predator. This abundance of food triggered an evolutionary arms race. On one side, you had the Megalodon, the ultimate fish. It was fast, it had a limitless supply of teeth, and it had been around for millions of years. On the other side, you had Livyatan, the ultimate mammal. It was intelligent. It needed to breathe air, and it likely had a much higher metabolism. Did they fight? Almost certainly. They occupied the same regions and hunted the same prey, but they likely hunted differently. Megalodon was an ambush predator coming from below. Livyatan, with its advanced sonar and social intelligence, would have been a tactical nightmare. In a head-to-head battle, the Megalodon has the advantage of the killing bite to the fins to immobilize. But Livyatan has the brain, the ramming capability, and the sheer grit of a warm-blooded mammal. This was the greatest rivalry in the history of our planet. Competition in the ancient sea seemed to be a special stage for these two. They freely devoured any sea creature available and became the top leaders of the food chain. So it's no surprise that they grew to such size. Livyatan could reach 17 meters in length and weigh up to 60 tons. While its overall size wasn't as large as Megalodon, but its strength, intelligence, and precision movements were enough to pose a nightmare for the strongest ancient sharks in the ocean. If Livyatan was so powerful, why is it gone? Why is the modern sperm whale a squid eater instead of a whale killer? The answer lies in the planet's shifting thermostat. As the Miocene ended and the Pliocene began, the Earth started to cool. The small baleen whales, Livyatan's primary food source, began to migrate to colder polar waters or disappear entirely. Livyatan, being a massive mammal with a high energy demand, was trapped. It needed a massive amount of blubber to survive. As its food moved or shrunk in size, the energy cost of being a 50-foot killer became too high. The Megalodon faced a similar fate, but Livyatan vanished even earlier. It was a specialist. And in nature, when the environment changes, specialists are the first to fall. The king of the whales didn't go out with a bang, but with a slow, agonizing hunger, as the oceans turned cold and empty. Today, the sperm whales we see in our oceans are gentle giants, diving deep into the abyss to hunt giant squid in the dark. They are a shadow of what their ancestors once were. Livyatan melvillei reminds us that nature doesn't just create life, it experiments with it. It pushes the boundaries of size and power until the planet itself says no more. It was a monster that truly made the Megalodon look like just another fish in the sea. The next time you look at the ocean, don't just think about what's swimming there now. Think about what was there before. Think about the bone-crushing bite and the silent sonar of a whale that once ruled the world. Livyatan's life story also teaches us that strength and size do not guarantee survival. Only the ability to adapt can challenge the time. Thank you for watching. If you found this dive into prehistoric history fascinating, consider subscribing to the channel. We have a lot more mysteries to uncover. Until next time, stay curious.